Abe Eckstein says Judge Chu's face when she saw the verdict before she read it, looked like her face dropped and was surprised. She knew it was wrong. It's legally the wrong decision. And with that, let me read this. Debbie Tom says, feeling devastated by this verdict. As a cop's kid and a mom of 7, I am overly sympathizing with Kim Potter. Any advice on how not to not feel so overwhelmed? Any word on how the Minnesota police are reacting to this verdict? I don't know that any have responded to my... Let me check. So this is from someone with 25 years in public safety. Says the biggest impact of verdicts like this in the defund movement overall is that I tell every young person who is interested in public safety to find something else. Maximize your talents in private industry and take care of yourself and your family. We're just a number to civilization now. Retired LEO. Today is a kick in the teeth. The verdict makes me glad that I'm out. The evidence presented just didn't rise to the level of reckless, and I hope this is a wake-up call for all Minnesota law enforcement. They need to start thinking about getting out of the Twin Cities and continuing their career elsewhere. Another retired LEO. I'm a retired LEO from not Minnesota. I won't say the state. I retired from federal law enforcement when this stuff broke down to begin with. I missed it thoroughly and started working local, but it's just not worth the risk anymore. I'll be resigning effective immediately and emailing my letter now. Good cops will be gone, and lawlessness and criminal cops will be all that is left. This is a sad day for justice. I hope you and your family have a very Merry Christmas. Hey, thanks to you, brother, for your service, and thank you for the well wishes. My hope is that you have a Merry Christmas and find fruit in the private sector. Good afternoon. I'm a cop in Minnesota. I work for 2 departments. One is in central Minnesota. Hey! Very cool. First off, I've enjoyed your commentary and analysis on the trials you've streamed. You've done an amazing job explaining law to those who are not in yours and my shoes. My question for you is, I enjoy my career as a cop, but all this crap going on against law enforcement is trying to protect the public really worth the possibility of going to prison? Again, keep up the great work. Hey, I'm gonna respond, but maybe we should do this over pancakes or something, and have a content. But look at how this is working. Look at how this is working on law enforcement. Retired police officer, 26 years of service, now full-time training coordinator at a police academy. Enjoyed your coverage. As a cop, I've always avoided defense attorneys and relied on prosecuting attorneys. Well, if I was still on the road, those roles would be reversed now. The damage caused by this trial and the other police trials going back to Freddie Gray have had a deleterious effect on the profession. Cops are retiring in droves. They're leaving the profession in droves. We don't seem to be losing the good ones. The largest effect that I see every day at my job is the lack of people wanting to enter the profession. Our attendance has dropped by half. We can fill the number of open positions at the departments that we serve. Police do not need to be shielded from all liability. We in the profession are hurt by actions like Chauvin. We want them removed and punished. It's events like Potter, where the pressure of what we do are at issue before a jury, and the law expects every officer to be flawless, superhuman. We are human, and I'm afraid we're being held to a standard that is not possible. The race is not always to the swift, nor the battle to the strong. No matter the tactical advantage we have, it will never be enough to slow things down as much as we would like to make the best decision we can. To be P.S., it would be interesting to hear the likelihood of a successful 1983 case to follow, and that one of the 4 tests for seizure is intended means of seizure. Thanks, man. You're getting this. I got more of this. A bunch of police officers have emailed me. Here's another police officer in Minnesota. I have thoroughly appreciated and enjoyed your channel and the panel coverage of both Kyle and Kim Potter. That being said, sitting here watching the verdict today was absolutely devastating to me personally. This is bullshit. I strongly feel that I'm the kind of person that got into law enforcement for all the right reasons. I wanted to be able to assist people and victims on their worst day. I became a police officer in rural Minnesota after growing up in the West Metro. Spent 5 years and tens of thousands of dollars to pay for my own bachelor's degree in law enforcement and our state skills program, just like the vast majority of police officers in Minnesota. This is the type of career that you will make mistakes in. Many of them, regularly and throughout your career. 99% are very small, like forgetting to shut the driver's door of a suspect car after you have them step out. Any one of us could be Kim Potter, regardless of whether you're a rookie patrol officer or a SWAT team commander. I get a PowerPoint on Taser sent to my email every year. Don't read it because it's the same every year. Then take the dumb multiple choice test and get certified with 100% correct and 2 shots fired out of a Taser at a paper target per year. My department provides me with hundreds of rounds of handgun ammunition and multiple firearms trainings per year. Every year, I personally spend thousands of dollars on outside training that I attend on my days off. I shoot 5,000 to 10,000 rounds per year to be the most proficient in my skills. I feel like I can only do so much to prevent a horrific mistake. How can society expect me to do my job with the weight of prison or death hanging over my head if I make a mistake? I work by myself in the middle of nowhere, where the nearest backup is 15 to 20 minutes away. The odds of me having to use deadly force in a fight are much higher than a city cop who has backup with him at all times. I'm terrified that I might hesitate and get killed because I might be picturing myself in prison rather than defending myself in a situation. I don't know how much longer I can stay in this profession. I love my job and the community I serve, but I have to think about my family's future. Sorry about my jumbled thoughts. They're not jumbled, brother. They're not jumbled at all. Feel free to share any portion of this. I'm sending this from a personal email with my real name attached to it. I'm not going to do that to you, though. I would appreciate if you would not make my last name public due to the nature of the climate we're in. Feel free to reach out if you are seeking any specific information from Minnesota LEOs. And then thanks for everything. I look forward to continue watching. Merry Christmas. Hey, Merry Christmas to you, brother. I wish I had a good answer. I really wish I had a good answer for what to do. Retired police officer. I just retired from the police department in Philly. After the George Floyd riots, police work became unbearable. Imagine coming to work every day knowing that you're going to be called all sorts of vile insults and you're instructed to take it. Everything you do is on camera. If you're caught turning your camera off while being blasted with unprovoked verbal attacks, you can expect a 30-day suspension without pay. A second violation within 18 months will result in discharge. There's absolutely no respect for law enforcement in Philly, and I suspect it's the same everywhere. Cops are so stressed, it's amazing they can function. After 2 of my coworkers committed suicide just 2 months apart, I decided to get the hell out of there. Cops are more focused on staying out of trouble than doing the job. Every cop I know is in survival mode. It's no wonder why crime is out of control in Philly. From my family to yours, Merry Christmas and stay well. Hey, you too, and stay safe. Stay safe. Like, look, I have not always been nice to police officers, right? I'm not on videos. They're cops I've been very critical of and stuff like that. But I also have talked about the cops that I know, right? And I know cops around this area. I've interacted with them as a defense attorney, usually not ones I'm in cases with, as friends and neighbors, as church members. And the ones I know, I mean, the reason I tell people not to talk to cops is because I respect the cops' ability to get the job done. That's why. It's not because I think that they're bad people. It's that's how you protect yourself. To see this, at the end of the day, like, no matter how pissed off I am about a ticket, at the end of the day, these are the guys covering your ass when you really have a problem. These are the people investigating when you have a crime. Now, look, in some places, LA, San Francisco, you're going to get a different experience, right? The end user license agreement on cops in San Francisco right now, and it's not the cops' fault. It's the management's fault. It's the executive branch. It's a little bit different than somewhere else. They might not be investigating your burglary, right? But in most of the country, they are. And these guys, a lot of these guys, they want to do the right thing. They might be constrained. I don't think the officers in Minneapolis wanted to give up the 3rd precinct to be burned to the ground. I'm pretty sure that they didn't want that. But Mayor Jacob Frey, with his rolled up cuffed jeans and his stupid little line dance bullshit, that's what gave up a police precinct to be burned to the ground, to have where you go to work every day, where your locker is, where you're meeting up with your coworkers after a tense situation, where you're decompressing or debriefing after a use of force or after a near-death experience, that gets burned to the ground because Jacob Frey's worrying about getting reelected. Fuck Jacob Frey and Tim Walz and all these people, all these pathetic pussies who would cede society to the mob for their own political gain. Fuck them. Yeah, the St. Louis mayor was all for the mob until they showed up at their house. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was the McCloskeys, right? That gated community. That was the mayor's house was in that gated community. That's when suddenly the riots became untenable. Who's that NBA player who's like, yeah, you go out there and you tell people how you feel. It's like, whoa, don't come to my community, though. What are you doing in my community? Oh, I'm sorry. You think your gated community is immune to riots? You're wishing it on the poors? Anyways, to the officers who sent stuff in, thank you. Heartfelt thank you. And honestly, my best wishes, my most Godspeeds, my genuine prayers go up for you, the safety of you, and the decisions that you have to make that thank God most of us don't have to make over the next weeks and months in the wake of these types of decisions and these types of prosecutions that are becoming more prevalent around the country. And I don't envy your position. I only hope that you're able to manage either staying at work honorably as you will, or manage a transition out of that type of position and into something that's better for you. And remember, your duty to the community is second always to the duty to yourself and your family. Always. A lot of people want to act like this duty to the community is higher than the duty to yourself or your family. Yourself is your family unit. That's your ability to create a family. That's your ability to manage a family, even if you're single. But your duty to you and your family is always superior to your communal duty. Remember, communal, it comes from communism. And I think a lot of people have been perverted into thinking that is a higher duty, rather than realizing that the nobility of committing yourself to your community is that it necessarily impacts the commitment you can make to your family. That's where the nobility and respect for service comes from. It's not because the act itself is somehow special or that you actually have a duty, that you owe something to society. You don't. Society owes us everything. Society owes the individuals everything, because society derives its power from our rights. We lend them to the government. We lend them out. And if we took them away tomorrow, we would keep them. The government would not. But that being said, you don't owe anything to society. You don't owe it to your community. The fact that you give up a little bit of you to serve everybody else is commendable. But take care of you. We'll take care of ourselves if we have to. And you'll be welcome. You'll be welcomed back into individuality with open arms. So long as they remain within the non-aggression principle, right? But I mean that. I really do mean that. Because in the absence of law enforcement, that's when we pick up our own slack. We say, all right, we have to deal with this shit. We have to deal with this shit on our own in our own communities. You don't have to bear that burden. I mean, some of you will, because some of you are better people than me, and that's great. That's the key. But some of you can't. You got a new baby. Like, I was very critical of the guy who shot Philando Castile. Fair, still am. I know people think it's justified shooting. That's fine. That's fine. I'm still kind of critical of his behaviors on that day, but a classmate of mine, an old high school classmate of mine, knew that guy, and he had just had a baby. You know, young wife, him. He faced prison over his fear that he was going to die that day. And it's easy to be critical and clinical about someone else's actions, right? In hindsight, it really is. Simple thing to do. But when they told me that, you know, it was like, you know, it brought home the impact. And it made me think, could I do that? I can't. I'm sorry. I would always value me and my family over the service aspect of it. That's just who I am. And it's commendable that there are people who are different than me. So that's my toast and cheers to law enforcement officers. It's kind of rare on this channel because I'm a defense attorney and we talk from that perspective. But that is my heartfelt toast and cheers.